The built-in cameras of every Tesla are always watching, and you won't believe the things they see. Here are the top 40 Sentry Mode videos our fans sent us last year. Roll 'em! Our submitter had parked his Model Y at a commercial plaza in El Monte, California. When he returned, he found a long, deep scratch all over the passenger side. Someone had keyed his Tesla. What the keyer didn't know was that the Tesla's Sentry Mode security cameras recorded the whole thing. The submitter jumped inside his Tesla to check for any footage and check out what he found. A man is seen walking in front of the Tesla and checking it out. His sweatshirt says American Classic Muscle Cars, which might tell us something about his motive. The man walked back and forth in front of the car, making sure that nobody was watching before he made his move. After walking up to the passenger side, he dragged his keys across both doors and the quarter panel, digging in hard enough to make a deep scratch. He then walked away through the parking lot. The submitter told us he's never seen this man before, and his car had been parked for hours before this happened, so it couldn't have been related to any road rage incident. Our submitter immediately called the police, and they came and took a report. They said that with the video footage, it should be an easy case to prove if they can find the offender. So far, the criminal is still at large, and the submitter hasn't heard anything back from the police. He did hear back from a body shop though. They quoted him $8,700 to repair the scratch. All that damage, and for what? Can someone please tell this guy that Tesla is an American car company? Also, that Tesla has more muscle in it than all the cars on his sweatshirt added together. Luis parked his Model 3 in a parking garage in Montreal. When he returned 30 minutes later, he discovered that his charging port cover had disappeared. Sentry Mode captured what had happened, and Luis almost couldn't believe his eyes. Another Tesla owner in a Model S Plaid pulled up and parked in front of him. He then got out, walked to the back of Luis' Tesla, then broke the charging port cover off and took it with him. Luis told us he's never seen the guy before. There are paid charging stations in this garage, but he hadn't needed to charge. So he told us he hadn't parked in front of any of them. Instead, he chose a space with a regular electrical outlet and plugged in there, figuring he'd get a little electricity even if the charge was slow. He thinks he might have taken this guy's favorite parking space by mistake. He filed an insurance claim and made a police report, but he hasn't heard back from the police yet. Luis had to pay $280 for a new charging port cover. Jared was parked on the street while at work because there was no available parking at the hospital. A kid approached Jared's car and attempted to rip off the door handle after checking his surroundings. When unsuccessful, the kid punched the car door, setting off the alarm. Jared believes, based on his medical expertise, that the kid hurt his fist and that the pain was well-deserved. Ryan's wife, a real estate agent, parked her Tesla Model Y in a snow-covered driveway and went inside to show a house. Without warning, her unattended car started sliding on the ice. It slid all the way down the driveway, and when it reached the street, it turned by itself and started heading down the street. If we look closely, it looks like the rear wheels are locked, but the Tesla still slid away at around 25 miles per hour. You might not believe this, but there was actually another realtor at the scene working on a virtual video tour for one of his clients, and his camera was rolling when this happened.
Tesla's going downhill fast.
Okay, back to the Tesla and its Sentry Mode footage. Wow, I almost feel like a news anchor. Back to you in front of the house, Bob. Now back to you in the Tesla, Bob. The car ended up sliding into someone else's driveway, coming within inches of a stone pillar, but it somehow managed to stop safely. Ryan notes the front tires were spinning, which makes him think the car might have been out of park. He thinks the Tesla was trying to control the situation on its own. That's some crazy good luck, or maybe it's some luck plus some impressive safety features. We have no idea exactly what happened, so let us know your theories in the comments. Riley was at a local restaurant for his police department's holiday party when a Tesla Model 3 backed into his parked Model Y Performance. That's friendly fire. Sentry Mode alerted him and caught the whole thing on camera. The Model 3 owner came into the restaurant to exchange information. Riley's buddy, who was on duty during the party, was actually able to take the report. The repair estimate came to $7,000 US. Before you comment about this accident, it looks like this Model 3 is one that was made back when they still had the ultrasonic parking sensors. What's more remarkable about this story is that it's our first confirmed submission from a police officer. Matt was working late and decided to get some food at about 2 a.m. While waiting in the drive-thru, he was rear-ended by the driver behind him. Matt got out of the vehicle, but the driver claimed he hadn't hit him and refused to admit it until finally getting out of his vehicle to see the damage.
You gotta back your car up.
Well, I'm gonna make sure I fucking hit you, bro.
You're touching me right now.
Oh my god. No, I already backed up.
Well,
Make sure.
you have insurance?
Of course I have insurance, guy.
Alright. Let me pull up a bit.
Even after seeing the damage, he claimed he hadn't caused it and that it must have already been there. It's clear from the rear Teslacam footage that the guy knew he'd hit Matt's Tesla and was just waiting to see if Matt would notice.
Hey, I need to cancel my order. The guy behind me hit my vehicle and I need to take care of that.
Oh, okay.
The driver immediately texted Matt his insurance info, but Matt didn't notice until later that night that his insurance coverage had expired months earlier.
Yeah, there's a little bit of damage. Not much.
Matt says that what makes this incident even crazier is that he thinks the other driver was intoxicated. Matt called 911 to report what had happened and told them his suspicions. The police showed up in minutes and began questioning the other driver. He took and failed a field sobriety test and was placed under arrest before being transported to the Ada County Jail. Matt told us the woman who was with the other driver was given her stuff and told to leave. She wasn't allowed to drive the vehicle since she may have been intoxicated as well. Matt has contacted his insurance provider to see what it will cost to fix the damage and if there's any way to make the other guy pay for it. Eric and his family were sitting in their Model S, topping off at a supercharger in Bowling Green, Kentucky before continuing their drive. After a while, someone in a blue Model Y pulled in and had some trouble parking. Eric's wife told him, "We should move." Eric just laughed off her suggestion. After backing into the charging spot next to them, the driver hopped out of her Model Y and plugged it in. Then she just stared at the charging port for a while. When she was satisfied, she walked over and promptly slammed one of her doors into the side of Eric's Tesla. After contacting the other driver's insurance provider, they found out the Model Y was actually a rental. We can practically see the pain on Eric's face if he hadn't been face-palming so hard. The insurance provider forwarded him to the rental car company. After contacting them, it turned out her name wasn't even on the rental agreement. Eric had to get the driver's information from the lady who had rented the Tesla to begin with. Eric is still waiting for a quote to get the door ding buffed out. He told us his son Charlie would be over the moon to get a shout out, so hey there, Charlie. Tell your dad everything will be okay, but next time he should listen to your mom. Mauro had parked his Tesla Model Y at a shopping mall in Portugal. When he returned to his car, he found a deep scratch on it along with this Sentry Mode footage. It seemed like the vandal knew that the Tesla was recording and took precautions to remain anonymous. He avoided showing his face on the camera and looked the other way when passing by again. Mauro called the police and filed an insurance claim, and the cost of repairing the damage was estimated at about $425 US. Larry sent us a video from his daughter's Model Y, which was parked in his driveway. This happened on January 27, 2023 at around 6:48 p.m. Fortunately, there wasn't any damage to the Tesla. The police said they don't have the capability to enhance the video to read the license plate of the GMC truck, which fled the scene of the wreck after destroying a fence. If anyone recognizes the truck or has any more information about this incident, please let us know, since Larry would love to have his fence rebuilt. Jan had parked his Model Y outside of a store in the Netherlands when a truck passed by and scratched the right side of the Tesla. Ouch, that's painful to watch. Jan filed a claim with his insurance provider, and he's still waiting to hear how much it'll cost to repair the damage. John's wife was picking up an order at Target and had left their dog Rizzo in the car with dog mode enabled. This was her first time using dog mode after a new update that allows Sentry Mode to record while dog mode is active. Before this, Sentry Mode and dog mode couldn't be used together. This was also the first time she got to use the new live view of the inside of the car. While she was in the store, a car parked nearby and 4 women got out. When they noticed the dog, who was probably barking, they came over to investigate. They seemed amused, and they even took pictures of him. We have to admit, he's pretty photogenic. Jason was sitting in his parked Model Y when he and Sentry Mode had front row seats to some road rage. It all started when a Honda CR-V driver honked at the driver of a Cadillac Escalade at a red light. The Escalade driver proceeded to get out of his car and walk up to the Honda. He then spit on the Honda driver through the open window before walking back to his car, but not before gesturing to the Honda driver that he's number 1. The Honda driver kept honking, so the Escalade driver returned for round 2. It seems like spitting is his weapon of choice. This time, he spat on the window and the hood of the Honda. Once the Honda driver had enough of the free car wash, he pulled around the spitter and his parked Escalade. While his Tesla was parked at a bowling alley on league night, Mark got a Sentry Mode notification on his phone. He ran out to his car to find this video. The offending driver had pulled through the parking spots and driven to the far side of the lot, where they parked and left without leaving a note. Mark called the police, and the offending driver turned out to be the 19-year-old son of a well-respected league bowler, both of whom were on the other team. They decided to settle things privately since the damage was limited to some traded paint. The nearby proximity sensor seems to be working fine, but Mark says the junior driver will have to deal with his embarrassed dad on his own. Before Eric purchased his Tesla, he owned a Mustang GT that was scratched twice, resulting in over $1,000 in damage. Well, it's happened again. Someone put a knife into the tire of his brand new Model Y. He had to pay over $300 for a new tire, an expense he wasn't prepared for since he's getting married this year. Eric contacted the police, but the case was closed after they determined they couldn't tell who the perpetrator was. Eric has been trying to find the person himself by asking his neighbors and keeping an eye out for them. Matt was in a McDonald's drive-thru when someone swerved around him to throw away trash but missed entirely and sped off, too embarrassed or lazy to pick it up. The way he looked at Matt before tossing the trash gave Matt the impression he was gonna make it. This is disappointing on multiple levels. Philip had parked his brand new Tesla far away from the supermarket to avoid door dings and cart demons, but there wasn't anything he could do to avoid what happened next. Sentry Mode reveals a man walking up and throwing his bicycle into the ditch before heading toward Philip's Tesla. I've got a bad feeling about this. He looks very angry, so I think it's time for some suspenseful music. Oh, and did you know we just launched another Wham Bam channel? That's right, introducing Wham Bam Security Cam, featuring clips sent in from security cameras. Go check it out, subscribe, and start sending us your videos. He walked up and kicked a cart that someone had left out really hard, sending it into the Tesla's front bumper cover. It left a scratch that Philip hopes can be buffed out. This Tesla's Sentry Mode was activated by a couple walking past it in a Home Depot parking lot. That must have awoken the cart demon because a rogue cart appeared out of nowhere in the right camera. The cart demon aimed straight for the right fascia panel, but the cart miraculously only skimmed the edge of the car, leaving only a small smudge of dirt behind. This submitter had parked his car in front of a store while picking up a cake. When he returned, he noticed a white Toyota parked behind him, blocking his and another car from leaving. After waiting for a couple of minutes and seeing nobody around, he tried honking a few times while he searched for the owner of the vehicle. He also noticed the Toyota didn't have any license plates. About 7 minutes later, the driver finally showed up. When the submitter's wife confronted him about blocking them in, he got so upset with her that he flipped her off as he left. The submitter isn't sure what they did wrong here. The submitter also noticed the Toyota had both Lyft and Uber signs, but he wonders how the guy was driving around without any license plates. More than 4 years after getting a Tesla, Brad's luck ran out during a trip to the grocery store when the cart demon attacked his rear bumper. The cart had been expertly aimed by the cart demon, triggering the car alarm. Brad received a notification on his phone and checked the Tesla app, where he saw the cart firmly lodged against his Tesla's rear bumper. Brad wanted to give a shout out to his son Donovan and his uncle Stuart, both of whom have become addicted to watching our channel with him. This isn't the only submission of the cart demon we got this week. Another submitter spotted its handiwork in Canada. When leaving a store after a big snowstorm, he noticed a cart to the left of his car. When he checked for damage, he noticed that the cart demon had been off its game that day and had missed his Model 3. Instead, it had run into the mirror of a red Toyota before leaving some nasty scratches in its door. Darren parked his Model 3 on the street in San Lorenzo, California, while at a restaurant with his family. In the middle of dinner, someone came up and broke the Tesla's side window to lower the back seat so they could look in the trunk. Luckily, there was nothing in his car, so nothing was stolen, but he had to pay to get the window fixed. The repair estimate from the Tesla service center came to $600 US. He filed an insurance claim, but he didn't contact the police because Sentry Mode hadn't captured the license plate number or the criminal's face. Roop's Sentry Mode videos start with a Toyota driver running over a curb and hitting the back end of his Tesla. The Toyota driver then got out of the car, looked around to see if anyone was watching, and then drove off, committing a hit and run. Won't he be surprised when he discovers that the Sentry Mode cameras filmed the incident, and now there are a few people watching here on the Wham Baam channel. Roop filed a police report, and the cops reviewed the Sentry Mode video footage. The police told Roop the case was open and shut, as the video clearly shows the individual's face, which helped them identify him using the photo from his driver's license. The Toyota driver's insurance provider will cover the entire repair cost of $6,000 US. While this Model 3 owner was at an airport, he got a notification that his car alarm was going off. He took a quick look at his car from a distance, and everything seemed fine. When he got back to his car, he found out what had really happened. Roll the jingle.
Jump in! Honda bumped! Honda bumped! Yeah!
He tried to contact the police, but they weren't any help, unfortunately. He filed a claim with his insurance provider, and he's letting them go after the Honda bumper. A couple of episodes ago, we showed you a clip of a parked Tesla that slid down a driveway. Since then, Max reached out to tell us this happened to him as well. Max sent us footage from his Teslacam as well as from his porch and driveway cameras at his dad's house. In the video, we can see him drive up and park in the driveway. Max explained that Teslas don't lock the front wheels with electric parking brakes. Instead, they use normal hydraulic brakes to stop the front wheels for a while until the car is determined to be unoccupied or a certain amount of time has passed. The car then releases the brakes of the front wheels. Max tried to reach out to Tesla about the issue, but ended up with an at-fault insurance claim since it had hit his brother's car even though nobody was driving. The scary part was that his son was seconds from getting out and was nearly run over by the car. He had opened the door and was stepping out when he felt it move. He was smart and quick enough to jump backward and pull the door shut. Max told us he doesn't park his Tesla on anything remotely slick or sloped anymore and feels that this is quite an oversight on Tesla's part. Dario had parked his Model 3 on the streets of Rome in Italy when a Fiat parked in front of him and the driver forgot something when he jumped out. Oh yeah, the parking brake, a small but important detail. The Fiat rolled into the parked Tesla and Dario is now sorting out the insurance claim to get the damage fixed. Winds were strong as the passenger of a Mercedes parked next to Sean's Tesla opened their door but lost control of it. The heavy door of the SUV slammed into Sean's Model 3. Neither the driver nor the passenger left a note for Sean before leaving the scene. Sean is currently waiting for a quote from Tesla to repair the damage. Once he finds out how much repairs will cost, he'll decide whether to file an insurance claim, file a police report, or pay for the repairs himself. Dobby had parked his Model 3 at an outdoor public charging station overnight near his home in Sweden. At 1:27 a.m., Sentry Mode filmed this kid walking up to the car and trying to disconnect the cable. After failing to remove the charging handle, he ripped the charging port cover clean off and ran away. We can even see him still holding the cover as he runs off. Colby was studying at a nearby coffee shop while his Tesla was charging at Whole Foods. When he returned to his car, he saw a shopping cart tipped over against his rear bumper cover. Upon reviewing his Sentry Mode events, he discovered footage of a person loading up his groceries and abandoning the cart on the sidewalk before leaving in his vehicle. The cart had left long scratches that damaged the paint of Colby's Tesla. Unfortunately, the other person's license plate was too blurry to read. Remember, you should always return shopping carts to cart corrals. Roger went home after a quick run to Target. Everything was fine until he went to plug in at home. That's when he noticed his rear mudguard was misaligned. When he took a closer look, he also discovered scratches all down the right side of the car. He checked his Sentry Mode footage and discovered a Lexus driver had hit his car while trying to park. The driver promptly backed out and left after noticing what they'd done. Roger contacted the police to report the hit and run before contacting his insurance provider to make a claim. Drew always tries to park as far away from other cars as possible to avoid any damage from parking lot craziness. When he went into the grocery store to grab a few things one night, such precautions didn't dissuade the cart demon. A careless customer left their cart on the sidewalk instead of returning it to the corral just a few feet away. Then not one, not two, but 3 grocery store employees walked past the abandoned cart. One even walked by as the cart was already speeding toward Drew's Model 3 Performance. The wind helped it pick up quite a bit of speed before it smacked into the left quarter panel, setting off the alarm. In the end, it left both a dent and a nasty scratch. Adam and his wife were attending the Chiefs vs. Seahawks game on Christmas Eve. They just finished tailgating before walking into the stadium. As soon as they got inside, Adam got an alert that his car alarm had been activated. After rushing back to his car, he found this Sentry Mode video. Is it possible that the bass drums set the alarm off? Now that is alarming. Chris had parked his Tesla one night on the streets of downtown Buffalo, New York. Around 3 a.m., someone threw a glass liquor bottle at the passenger door. This caused a huge dent and also damaged the chrome trim. Chris tried to file a police report, but they said there isn't much they can do since the vandal can't be identified from the video. We thought maybe one of our viewers might recognize him. He was wearing a jean jacket with a large graphic on the back. If you have any information, let us know and we'll forward it along. Vixus was out for a nice dinner with friends, but when he returned to his car, he noticed a big dent in the driver's door. Scrubbing through his Sentry Mode events from that night, he found the culprit had been caught on tape. Clearly, she'd noticed what she'd done, but she still left without leaving a note. Unfortunately, he couldn't make out the license plate number, so he had to pay for the damages himself. The repair cost came to $350 US. When Johnny got back to his car, he discovered a Sentry Mode event that had captured a man peering into his window and trying to open the car. Not much appears on the dark footage at first, but when he decided to walk around the front of the car, it set off the Tesla lasers, giving Johnny a clear shot of his face on the video. He contacted the police to file a report and also informed his apartment management in case they recognized the guy. Chris was at work when he received a notification on his phone that his car alarm had been triggered. He ran outside to see what was going on and realized that he'd accidentally left his GoPro running inside the car. Let's take a look at what happened. The incident was observed by Sentry Mode, the GoPro, and over 20 witnesses. The repair bill came to over $2,500 US, and it took a few weeks before Chris got his car back. Michael had been charging his Tesla at a level 2 charging station at Willowbrook Mall in Wayne, New Jersey for about 15 minutes when he received a notification on his Tesla app that charging had stopped. Speaking of notifications, are you subscribed to our new channel, Wham Baam Security Cam yet? Be sure to turn on upload notifications as we'll be uploading a new episode every week. Cole had parked his Model Y on the streets of downtown Denver, Colorado. Evidently, it was the wrong day to park there because somebody walked by and keyed every car on the street. Cole's Tesla was the last car on the street, and Sentry Mode captured a great image of the vandal's face. Cole filed an insurance claim and contacted the police. Both were very grateful for the footage. This guy keyed Tyler's Tesla, but Tyler tracked him down, got him arrested, and he had to spend a night in jail. Let's start from the beginning and find out what happened. Tyler was playing a round of golf one afternoon in Tucker, Georgia. After he was done, he returned to his car only to find that someone had applied some unwanted artwork to his Tesla Model 3 while he'd been away. He discovered this video, which caught the vandal in action, and Tyler told us he's never seen or spoken to this guy before. Tyler took the video back to the golf course, and they instantly recognized the man as a member of the club. They guessed he might have had a bad round and meant to key his buddy's nearly identical Tesla parked next to Tyler's. The only difference between them is that Tyler has the 19-inch sport wheels, while the other Tesla has the 18-inch aero wheels. The golf course gave Tyler the suspect's information, including his name, address, email address, and birth date. Tyler took this information to the police, who then issued a warrant for his arrest. Because the overall cost of the damage exceeded $3,500 US, once the police executed the warrant, the suspect had to spend a night in jail. Tyler's insurance provider went after the vandal's insurance provider, but at first he denied that he was involved. When they presented the video evidence, he admitted that he'd committed the act, and his insurance provider terminated his policy and dropped him as a customer. This time, justice was served. When this submitter walked out to his parked Tesla, he found a large scratch all over the passenger side. The 4 cameras that were built into the Tesla had captured it all. Let's take it from the beginning because this submitter and the police need your help to identify the vandal. The submitter had parked at the Costco in Sunnyvale, California, close to the Lawrence Expressway. Sentry Mode was triggered and started recording when the Honda owner parked next to him started loading stuff into the back seat of their vehicle. From this angle, we can see he started off by leaning his shopping cart against the back end of the Tesla while loading his groceries. Then he walked around the Tesla, inches away from scraping the passenger doors with the cart, but he didn't make contact. Instead, he dragged his metal bracelet hard against the Tesla's paint, leaving a scratch so deep that repainting it won't be enough to fix it. The submitter was shocked when he reviewed the footage and immediately called the police to make a report. Calvin initially sent this video of his interaction with an angry security guard half a year ago, but we had to retract it since the case was about to be settled in court and this video was part of the evidence. The case is finally settled, so let's take another look at this story from the beginning. It all started when Calvin was dropping off his wife to pick up a late lunch. This is a fire lane, so parking here isn't allowed, but the city of Markham bylaws define parking as the halting of a vehicle except when loading or unloading goods or passengers. After he dropped her off, it was unsafe to move his vehicle because of a car in his blind spot and another car in front of him driving the wrong way. His wife came back, but by then, a security guard was practically screaming at Calvin. Calvin explained he was loading a passenger, which is allowed in a no parking zone, but the security guard just started swearing at Calvin. At that point, Calvin fought fire with fire, but he told us he said nothing hateful or anything that would cross the line. The security guard ended up writing Calvin a ticket for illegally parking in a fire lane. The security guard also claimed that Calvin tried to run him over, but the footage clearly shows he walked in front of the Tesla when it was already moving slowly, a very unsafe thing to do. Calvin beeped the horn at him out of annoyance, which is why the video cut off. Eventually, he was allowed to leave the scene and get away from someone Calvin said looked like he wanted to beat someone up. After a hearing, Calvin's parking violation was thrown out. The Teslacam video was presented as evidence for his defense and was crucial in securing the acquittal by showing that he wasn't actually parked at the time of the incident. Calvin doesn't think he would have won the case if not for the video.
Wham! Bam, we got a Patreon man. Please support the show.